Hey guys, it's Chris Bate with Cheat the Game coming back at you. Today we're going to be taking a look at Just Cause 4 again. Came around some interesting things in it that I'd like to show you. And today we're going to be getting Infinite Rocket Pack. And this will in fact allow you to fly indefinitely all over the map, anywhere you want to go, without ever having to touch the ground. So it's a lot more fun than even flying some of the planes and helicopters, which I'm enjoying too. But you know me, I love flying anyway. I love flying in any way. I've always had a fascination with that. But the interesting aspect that I want to show you, let me bring up my cheat table that I'm just working on the side with. It's not the one that I use for the tutorials, but my very own right here. And what I'm going to show you today, this Infinite Wingsuit Jet that I did, on how we can use one symbol that we do like for a like a injection copy, but we just use it for our AOB scan module, in which we name that first byte, which is located at a specific address. How we name it that one specific thing, but yet we can use it to modify different places in that same structure. So these three are all together in the same structure, but we can use that one actual symbol, that one location, to modify all three areas. And this is a direct byte manipulation. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about today. So it kind of goes along with the lines of the Back to Basics tutorial, just a more intermediate version of a direct byte manipulation. So let me bring up the game and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I brought up my cheat table for the tutorial that we have been working on, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And make sure that you turn these codes on after the game has completely loaded and not before, because some things, especially when I release my table, some things aren't really set until the game has fully loaded, and it may cause glitches. It may even crash the game during the loading process. So it's best rule of thumb to wait till the game is completely loaded and you're ready to go, then turn the cheats on. Alright, and hopefully by next week I'll go ahead and release my cheat table for you to download. You're more than welcome to it. More than likely, the game's already going to be updated and it won't work anyway, but hopefully you can go to my other vid on which I show you how to update AOB scripts, and I'll leave that tutorial up in the upper right hand corner as well. But let's go ahead and get back to the game. Let it find all our values. So it found our ammo, and I went ahead and set hotkeys on my other one. I think I did on this one too, I'm not sure. Nope, didn't do it on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and set my grapple distance to 8,000, and all these others to 3,000, and I'll set my max damage to 999. I just like having that. I forgot that on my other I set all these to hotkeys. Alright, and we got our infinite health, and we're not concentrating on playing the game right now. We're just currently hacking it. So I'm just going to go ahead and grapple, initiate the parachute about halfway, and then I want to transpose into the wingsuit, and this is where we start. You see in the right hand corner down at the bottom we have a fuel gauge. Well, we're going to find that fuel gauge, and we're going to have it indefinite to where we can fly anywhere we want all day long. But you see, it never comes available after you use all the fuel. It then stops and you're just kind of left there, and hopefully you don't run out of steam before it resets the flag. But we're going to take care of the flag, we're going to take care of the fuel value, we're going to take care of everything that is preventing us from reinitiating it until it goes back effective. So that's what we're going to do. You're going to find this on a float value in most type gauges like this, like whether it be for a vehicle or things like that. You're going to find most of these values on a float value. So no different with this one. I'm going to turn on simple values only to weed them down a little bit better. And just to save a little time, I'm not going to do an unknown value. Well, yeah, I will do an unknown value search. I'm sorry. But I'm going to tell you right now, at full, this is going to be a 1 float, and then it counts all the way down to 0 for completely empty. So it goes from 1 to 0 in increments that way. So that's how you'll find the fuel. And that'll lead us to our other stuff. So let's go ahead and do a first scan of unknown initial value. So right now we know it's going to be counting up to 1 as it fills back up. So just let it fill up a little bit, then we're going to go increase value. And this may take a minute or two. Okay guys, sorry about that. I had to take the game down and cheat engine down. I recently downloaded the 6.8.2, but for some reason, sometimes it keeps freezing right in the middle of a scan and just does not come back on. And so I had to go back to 6.8.1 so I could continue on with the TUT. So hopefully we can get that looked into. But alright, for right now, so we increased the value, and I went ahead and hit unchanged just to bring it down a little bit, and just hit unchanged, and you know, just the normal value searching. We're going to let it go all the way up. Just hit increased while it's doing so, like this. Wait till it gets all the way up, and we're just going to wait. There we go. We see the flags turn back on. Now we're going to hit increase one last time, and then we're going to go down here and go exact value of 1. This will weed out any others. We still see we got a lot of other stuff, and you can still weed those out. You can put smaller than 1.09, something like that. Net scan. Or actually do this, 1.1, not 9, 1.01. And do a next scan. And then you can put also bigger than 0.9, and that weeds a lot of them down. We're about down to 2,000. So basically we're just looking for a 1. There might be several of them, I don't know, but I don't see it as of yet. So let's use it again, and we're going to go down. And just let it fill back up and see which one of them turns to 1. And there we go. We got 2 addresses right here. So let's see, just to make sure that one of these is our rocket. And we see that is holding it, and it don't turn off, and that's normal. So that's what it does. So let's turn one of them off. Nothing's changed, so let's untick the other one, and now it goes down and turns off. So we know that top one is the correct one, so that's what we needed. So let's go ahead and delete this address, and we'll go ahead and put the debugger on this particular address, find out what accesses this address, and there we go. Now what I want what I want is to see what pops up when it fills all the way back up and the flag turns back on. Okay, nothing popped up. So I know here, let's see what comes about it when we take off some. So let's do that. So this is when we subtract. And once we're done, this pops up in memory right here. So what I like to do is this area right here is actually writing to it. We see 151 times. That only hit it once. This hit it 151 times. So this was totally active while we were losing fuel. So this is where I want to go. And once it was completely back full, it hit a compare, and it went to this area where EDX was writing to it. Let's see. And that looks like maybe it just turned the flag back off or something. Okay. Alright, so we're going to come over here to show in disassembler, and this is the address. We see right above it we have a sub SS, and if we knock that out, which we're going to do first, we're just going to take a look. Let's try not to crash. Also, let's go ahead and turn this off. We got all the information we need. And take a look. But there's a problem. Now I've let my finger off of the gas and it's still going. Now it goes indefinitely, but you can't turn it off. The only way to turn it off is to go to your parachute like that and then back to your thing, but yet it's got to fill back up. So that's not quite what we wanted, but we're close. So we know we're in the right area, so automatically we know we need to knock this particular address out. So that's 1. And when we come down here, and the reason we knock this is XMM6 is subtracting from XMM0. We see it's doing other things and then coming down here and writing to our fuel. So we know this takes care of our subtraction. But we want to come down here and you see some tests that are being done. And basically you just really, the best way to do it is just go and knock them out and see what affects what. So what I do is I go ahead and knock this out, this first one. I know I passed over this one, but this doesn't do anything. I'm just trying to bypass some steps. This actually took me about 2 hours, you know, to go test all this stuff and figure it out, but I'm just trying to condense it and show you what to do. Alright, so let it fill back up. Make sure that we keep the subtraction knocked out as well. And we are still going. So that's not going to work for us either. We have to go to our parachute. So what I did after that is I went down to this jump if not equal, and I knocked it out. Replace with code that does nothing. Let's go back to our parachute and back to our wingsuit. Let it fill back up so we can get a more accurate tone in here. And it's still not giving us what we need, so we keep experimenting around and find out what's going on. And so I knocked this one out. And I always knock out these compares because they're all doing something. And take a look. It stopped immediately, but took us all the way down. So we know we're hitting something right. So let's go ahead and restore a couple of these, or just one of them maybe. Let it fill back up.
Not yet.
Alright, so we know we're in basically the right area, but I'm getting tired of waiting on this to fill back up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to one of these up here that's constantly accessing it. And I'm going to send one all the way down through it. And that's usually where you start off at anyway. And that's what I did at first. So I'm going to go ahead and make one injection script. And we're just going to call this Flying 1. Or you can call it jet fuel, whatever. Just so you know what it is and what this is doing. And right here, I'm just going to move a float 1 into this address. So we just put move the address and then float 1. Hopefully we don't have to wait on it to fill back up anymore. Okay. So that's what we should have done first before we go messing around. And take a look. We're already back full. And now we can turn it on and off as well. So what did that? So we need to figure out what actually did that. So let's go back to that area in memory, which was right here. And turn them back off. And you see now it's constantly going and I cannot turn it back off, so put that back on. Replace with code does nothing, and it turns back off again. So it looks like here that this particular compare and this conditional jump is turning our flag on and off to tell when it is available and when it is not. What would happen if I turned this off and just turned this on? I hadn't even tried that, so I don't know. Let's get in parachute mode, back to wingsuit. We want to test it in every aspect. So it looks like we found it, and we can use In combination with the script we just wrote, we can use the subtraction as well as the flag itself to have infinite, and you can see you can just fly all over the map, just anywhere you want to go. Ah, this is so fun. I love it. But anyway, so we know that really all we need to do is map out 2 places. We need to take care of sending 1 all the way through the system, but if we don't take care of this subtraction, it's still going to subtract and affect the flag, and we need to change the condition on the flag. So that's what we're going to do. Let me save what I got and I'll be right back with you. Okay, let me just recap right quick, because I know I've got people confused on this. Okay, so let me recap and explain it just a little bit better. Okay, when we put the debugger on the address, which is our fuel address for our jet fuel, this right here, it brings up these locations. And this up here is constantly monitoring it, that we saw, and this here not as often, but it is monitoring it constantly. Okay, so the normal first thing that you need to do is basically what I do is I'll just go see if I can run 1 all the way through any functions. But I wanted to see everything that was going on with this fuel value right here. So there we noticed that when we take away or use the fuel, that this area starts coming up in operation. So we know this particular structure, this function right here, is in reference to fuel being taken away or being subtracted. And then this right up here is doing something when it is adding fuel to it. Okay, so all these come into play, and these look like a maybe a flag or something that lets the system know, okay, well, it's completely out, or is completely full, and he has now mashed the button to take away, so I need you to jump to the functions that subtract the fuel. Okay, so normally what I do first of all is I go to where it's subtracting to see if I can keep it full and see what happens, and that's what I did here. But in this game, it's better to go ahead and send 1 all the way through the functions and then just take care of things after that. So I kind of went back on myself and made a script to just send 1 all into that address all the time. We saw that don't work without the subtraction. Okay, so we have to go take care of the subtraction and the flag also. So let's go back and do that. And we see we still have our places knocked out. So let's go down to it, and we just need to knock out 2 places. 1 for the flag that's being set, or the conditional jump, and the other is the subtraction itself that keeps it full all the time. So let's go ahead and restore to the original code, and I'm going to put my original code right here. We're going to use an AOB injection, and we're going to use direct byte manipulation. So we're just going to go ahead and do that, and we're just going to say fuel SPT, which means fuel subtract. Just let me know, okay, Chris, this area right here is subtracting your fuel. And you can do it several ways. You can just knock it out like that, but to do a direct byte manipulation on which I want to show you guys, we're going to do it this way. Go ahead and take all that out, just like I showed you in the Back to Basics series, and I'll put that up in the upper right hand corner for you. This will explain everything I'm doing right now. I go through it in full detail. So now all we need to do is knock out these 4 bytes, okay? And that's what we're going to do. So we just need the first 4 bytes right here. And the location of that fuel subtract is that byte right there, and we see that it is right here, and here's the byte right here. So just knock it out. That is the name of our very first address, our very first byte. So let's go ahead and change these out to 4 NOPs, which is 90, and 90, 90, 90, 90, and that will NOP it out. That is a NOP in byte form. Alright, but we're not done there, and most people, even myself included in the past, we know that we need to knock out this compare also. That way it turns back off, and we can just stop the jet anytime we want to without it just continuously going. Because if you don't knock that out, it will just continuously go infinitely until you go to parachute mode or something. So we don't want that. So restore that back to the original code. And here's the hard part, is we got to count all these bytes all the way up to its very first byte. Our normal instinct is just to put another AOB scan on it, and absolutely you can do it that way. If you want to, it's a lot easier. You can just put it and just name it something else, and then you just got 3 scripts going that you need to combine, which isn't no big deal. But I'm trying to show you something that you can actually use this same area, that same symbol for the name of that byte to also affect these bytes, and that's what we're doing. So let me pause it for a second while I count these bytes, and the way I'm going to do it is like this, is that always the very first byte is 0. The one right next to it would be 1, 2, 3, and you're going to count in hex all the way up to this byte right here. But basically I'm going to count it in decimal and convert it to hex. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I counted all the way from here to here, starting with this byte as being 1, the very first byte is being 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way to 67. And that's what I'm going to use, and that's in decimal. I counted in 10 base. And we see that that will be 43 hex. So all we need to do is copy this. Just paste it underneath. Make sure that we get the correct number of bytes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bytes. So that means there's 4 already. We need to add 2 more NOPs. And we also need to copy this because we need to restore it back correctly. We need to restore it with these bytes. So we'll just copy those bytes and opcode to the clipboard and bring up Notepad. And we'll just separate them out. That's what I do anyway. Just copy them. And this way we can set them back to the way they're supposed to be. So 67 bytes converted into hex is 43 hex. So we know that it's going beyond it. We just put at that address plus 43 hex bytes, like that. So let's add that to the current cheat table. Hopefully I didn't miscount. So right underneath it, let me bring it over to the side and make sure that this will knock out. There it is. Okay, here it is. I don't know if the screen jumped on me here, but take a look. Here's our NOPs. Let me bring this down a little bit. I don't know why the screen jumped up like that. And I don't know why it's continuing to do this. Man, Cheat Engine just ain't working with me today. Okay. Alright, so let's make sure it restores it, and you see it restores it back to itself. So counting these bytes and being very accurate is extremely important. Remember 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down to this very first byte is what you need to count to. Now, if I had a code that I needed to knock out or something, or change in some way that was beyond this byte, then I would have to count backwards, starting with that very first byte, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and say it was all the way 67 bytes on up here somewhere, then I would have to put it as minus 0.43 bytes. You see the difference? I had to go forward in the program, so that's plus 43. If I had to go behind this address, it would be minus that amount. So that's just a little quick tip. And direct byte manipulation, we can directly go ahead and add it to the other fuel code that's sending 1 through the system to keep the gauge at 1. And you can combine these scripts all together. And this is just to make it look neat. You can leave it as is, it don't matter. And then we just copy our knops right here. And I'm just going to put it down here below the return for our direct byte manipulation. And then this turns off and restores everything back to what it previously was. Right here. Just make it nice and neat. Click OK. Now we don't need this script anymore. We have it combined with that other script. So you can name it whatever you want. Infinite wingsuit fuel. Or jet fuel. And that's our fly like Superman right here. So let's just see what happens when it's normal and we don't have the code on. Let's just test it. And it will be a rainstorm right now, but what can you do? Oh, it looks like I still got these things on. I'm sorry. I must have accidentally done something didn't mean to. Let's turn it back off. Well, it's still working. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I was about to say, this thing's still working. How's that possible? Oh, well. There we go. So we see it working normal now. Filling back up. And still working like normal. So let's go turn it on. Give it a minute. There we go. Boom. Fills all the way back up. And we can turn it off whenever we want to, or hold it as long as we want to. And you can just fly anywhere and everywhere that you want to go. And that's how to do it, fellas. So I hope that helped you and you learned something off that. I just kind of wanted to expound a little more on direct byte manipulations and those symbols we use for the address in the AOB scan. They are very, very helpful. And all your symbols can be helpful. And we're going to go into more depth about symbols and different things and different usages you can do. I have showed you a lot with them in the past, but I'd like to go in some more explanation with them. And we can work with that. So enjoy this, fellas, and on the next video I will excuse me, I'll make sure to have my cheat table available for you. Alright, I want to thank all my partners right quick. These guys keep Cheat the Game running. I'm able to make more videos because of them, trying to make them in a more timely manner, but you know, it's getting the time because I have to work, I have to earn money and everything. But these guys that help provide each and every month, they help keep Cheat the Game going. And I tell you what, if it wasn't for these guys, I would have had to fold this a long time ago. So we all owe them a debt of gratitude. Would love to have you over there. They get freebies every month. It only costs $1 a month, and you get all the perks of being a partner with CTG. So come on over and join us, and I'd really appreciate it. It helps out so much. I just can't begin to tell you. And like I say, the partners get first dibs on just about everything. So come join us over at our Facebook. We also have a Discord channel, and we also have a website that we're trying to get back up and growing again. If I can find somebody to help me run it, that would be wonderful. So, but come join us. All these links are down there in the description. And I want to thank all my admins, partners, and all you subscribers. Thank you so much for being a part of the Cheat the Game family as we continue to grow and learn together. All right. Well, you guys take care. Keep on hacking. Most importantly, please enjoy yourself. That's really what it's all about. You cheat the game, fellas, because believe me, it doesn't mind cheating you. You all take care now.